I'm Rebecca Fryer with Kingstonist News. Here's what's making headlines today, December 13th, 2022. Today is the day the Waubin Crossing, also known as Kingston's third crossing, will officially be open to traffic sometime this evening following a special ribbon-cutting ceremony this afternoon. The ribbon-cutting ceremony is planned to get underway around 2 p.m. with the first official crossings of the United Way charity auction winners expected to happen around 2:45, with the barricades then to be lifted once the winners have completed their trips across the bridge. Kingston Fire and Rescue say an improperly placed space heater is to blame for a fire that has displaced a number of residents from an apartment building in Kingston's North End. Emergency services were called to the scene near the intersection of John Counter Boulevard and Montreal Street just before 6 p.m. on Saturday, December 10th, after 911 received a number of calls about flames and smoke being visible from the street from one of the units. Thankfully, the occupants of the unit and neighboring units escaped without any serious injury, with Kingston Fire and Rescue saying most residents who did require any medical attention were able to be treated at the scene by paramedics. Damages are estimated to be approximately $110,000. So a reminder from Kingston Fire and Rescue that as temperatures start to dip lower and lower, if you are using a space heater, make sure to maintain 3 feet or at least 1 meter of clearance around the space heater at all times. Speaking of winter weather, a reminder from the City of Kingston that winter on-street parking bans remain in effect for the foreseeable future despite no immediate snow in the forecast tonight, and this is because the city crews could use another day or two to clear city streets. Due to the snowy weather that happened on Sunday, the City of Kingston implemented its first weather-based overnight parking ban of the season. Now, in case you missed it, Kingston City Council did pass a motion to try out a new weather-based system for overnight parking bans for the City of Kingston during March and December, when we typically see fewer snowstorms than during January and February, when the full winter parking blanket ban comes back into effect. For more on how and where to check the status of the overnight winter parking bylaw, you can check out Kingstonist.com. Taking a look at some local police stories over the past week, Frontenac OPP arrested 2 drunk drivers on December 8th, just before 8 p.m. OPP say they got a call about a vehicle driving erratically on Highway 7. Police say the 29-year-old driver from Hamilton was arrested and charged with impaired driving and given a court date for later in January. The other motorist was a 24-year-old from South Frontenac. She was picked up by police on impaired driving charges after she crashed her car on Highway 15 near the 401 on December 11th. Police say the driver sustained minor injuries and was taken to hospital by paramedics for treatment. 2 Central Frontenac men face multiple charges after police recovered 2 stolen side-by-side ATVs in South Frontenac. On Thursday, December 8th, OPP say 35-year-old Jesse Teal and 38-year-old Bobby Wilson were both arrested and charged with theft of a motor vehicle, possession of break-in tools, and possession of property obtained by crime. The men were then each given a court date in Sharbot Lake for next month. And lastly, the Community Foundation for Kingston and Area has announced this year's grants totaling more than $500,000 in donations in support of 42 initiatives led by local charitable community service organizations. According to the foundation, these grants are projected to directly impact nearly 250,000 people locally, including nearly 75,000 kids directly. Funding for these new projects comes from CFKA's $33.5 million portfolio of endowment funds established by individuals and families, as well as organizations that just want to make Kingston a better place for all. To read more about who got what and how much, check out the full article right now at Kingstonist.com. For more on these stories and other headlines, or to submit your own news, visit Kingstonist.com and become a subscriber today. I'm Rebecca Fryer. Have a great one, Kingston.